So I'm thinking about what's happening here in the last few days, how everything shifted from something so positive to uh, Putin getting his way. And he got his way because he doesn't really want to conclude the war. And now I'm thinking about something, and this is somewhat speculative. I'm just trying to think through my own thoughts, and I want you to tell me what you think. Am I wrong? Am I right? What can you add to this? That sort of thing. Okay, so I'm saying that this is a head fake. This is Putin doesn't actually want to conclude peace and get to a deal with Trump. He waited until the very last hour in order to finally contact Trump in order to preclude tomahawks, and then he got his way. Now, when I say it was a head fake, I'll explain that in just a moment. Let's start with this. This just came out in the Washington Post minutes ago. Washington Post, Putin told Trump he's ready to give up occupied parts of Zaporizhia and Kherson if Russia gets full control of Donetsk, which sounds eminently reasonable until you understand exactly what that would mean for Ukraine. If they give up all of Donetsk, they set themselves up to be totally crushed the next time Russia moves forward. If they give up that fortress belt, Russia can, whenever they start it again, just move right into Kharkiv, and it'll be like no way to stop them. It's kind of like this. You get into a lawsuit with somebody, and you're about to go to court, and your opponent says, look, I tell you what, sign this thing that says that you're guilty and I'll drop the case. Now, if you're in a bind now, if you go forward, you're going forward. If you sign the thing that says you're guilty and he drops the case, what's to stop him from tomorrow starting the case again and then saying, look, Your Honor, I have this thing this affidavit where he said he's guilty. That's the kind of bind that the Ukrainians are in. Okay. So someone in the White House absurdly saw that as progress. Trump just wants to conclude another peace, and he doesn't really care how it works out as long as he gets the peace. One EU diplomat nailed it. It's like selling them their own leg for nothing. Right, because that's Ukraine's land. Okay, so Putin demanded Ukraine surrender key territory in a call with Trump. So that's apparently what came out from that 2.5-hour phone call. Okay, now, when I say it's a head fake, do you understand what a head fake is? A head fake is like, I'm going to pretend to move one way and then move another. Let me show you what I mean. So here's the definition of a head fake. A head fake is an action to deceive an opponent, most commonly in sports, where players fake a movement with their head to trick an opponent about their true intention. We do this kind of thing in judo, for example. In judo, if I want to throw you one way, I'll push you. If I want to throw you behind me, I'm going to push back on you, and then you're going to think I'm going one way when I'm actually getting you primed to go the other direction. Okay, so a head fake, let me show you a better example in sports, okay? So one of basketball's most beautiful fundamentals, the head pump fake is into a smooth jumper. Okay, so let's see, this guy has the ball, and he's going to pass it over to this guy here. Somebody's going to come defend him. So this guy is coming to defend him, and he's up in the air, but he's pretending to shoot, and then he's going to actually shoot. See that? He's pretending, and then this guy goes right by him, right? And then he's going to actually shoot the ball. Okay, so that's a head fake. This is what Putin's doing. I'm looking for a metaphor to explain it. Do you think I'm off, or is that right? Because if Putin doesn't want to conclude the war, he doesn't want to actually get to it. He just wants to preclude any interference while he thinks he can get forward. Then that's, I think, what's going on now. What we know about Putin, and he has a very loose relationship with the truth. Here, just yesterday, outside, this is Scott Ritter, a staunch Putin propagandist, outside the lovely Bolshoi Theater after attending RT's 20th anniversary gala, a perfect evening with friends and colleagues from around the world celebrating the accomplishments of the media organization that is second to none. I look forward to the day U.S.-Russian relations return to normal and RT can resume its work in the U.S. free from sanctions, just like every other media organization. A free press requires the press to be free. Okay, well, I think RT should be able to be played in the U.S. and that we should be able to say, maybe put community notes under it or whatever, but we should be able to say that's nonsense. Okay, but it should be free, but it's not free. Like there's no freedom of the press in Russia. Like you can't, like they're excluding YouTube even from Russia. So like this is just Philistine pig ignorance for him to be saying that sort of thing. But he's saying it with a straight face because they have this agenda or this view of, yeah, okay, at any rate. So Putin was talking about RT, and I'm going somewhere. I'm tying this back to this head fake thing. So Putin was thanking propagandist Simonyan, saying that, you know, thanking her for her actions here. A lot has happened in the media sphere over the past 20 years. It's been an entire epic. Russia today has gone from an idea to a global brand that's now recognized all over the world. And I thank you for your dynamic, creative, close-knit team, for its high professionalism, dedication to the craft, and duty. As he's praising her for this past 20 years and all the work that they have done. And he goes on to say, and boldly, selflessly, and persistently upholding the truth in global information space. There's not a lot of truth coming out of RT in the global information space. It's a propaganda channel, and it's trying to show just this one element, and that the element usually is the whole world's jacked up because it focuses mostly outside of Russia. The whole world is as jacked up or more jacked up than Russia. So we're really not that bad. That's what it's coming out as. Okay. And here's why it started. This is another clip where he's saying this.
Remember, back in the beginning of the 2000s, the leading Western mass media were abusing their monopoly. And I would say almost always they disguised anything they wanted as objective news. They were trying to dominate the hearts and minds of millions of people by imposing new rules, or rather, basically, ideas and new civilizational space based on the wrong ideas.
Okay, so the Western media is not a monopoly. It's exactly the opposite of a monopoly. There's free press that can say whatever it wants. It just wasn't saying what Russia wanted, and so RT was needed in order to combat that, and that's where it is. Okay, so they have this loose affiliation with the truth. Here's Maria Zakharova praising them.
I believe that people don't go to a birthday party empty-handed. Of course, this is a symbolic bouquet. There are many different colors here. I think they represent the Russia Today TV channel. It's beautiful, it's fresh, it's joyful. Outside, it's raining and dumpy. Flowers remind us of the best. So does this channel. Let the fake news be outside the window. Let the post-truth world be outside the window. Unfortunately, misinformation literally is everywhere around us.
And so this is what RT tries to do. It tries to show that everywhere else is misinformation. We're asking the hard questions. We're the truth. But everywhere else is lying. And that's where, okay, so that's part of the whole shtick here. And then they have, they're willing to say things like this. President Putin is saying that 87% of Russian energy has a minimal or zero carbon footprint. I'm talking about gas and nuclear generation, renewable energy sources, hydropower. Okay, I'm sure the nuclear and the hydropower and whatever else. Okay, there's that. But you're essentially, a third of your budget is built on oil. There's no possible way that 87% of Russian energy has a minimal or zero carbon footprint. But they'll say things like this, like as though things are true. And where will they say it? On RT. So they don't mind lying. The head fake, it's there, right? Okay. Now, with that, let's go back to Trump, and then we're going to conclude this. So Trump announced that U.S.-Russia talks on ending the war in Ukraine on the American side will be represented by Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Rubio, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Okay, so there's no like Keith Kellogg kind of voice. It's just that Witkoff is going to be there, who's kind of already negotiating with the Russians. But Witkoff was there with the Ukrainians. So why isn't Kellogg there? I don't know. And Witkoff, why is he even there when Trump was even admitting the other day that he was thinking like Witkoff would be there for a 15 or 20 minute meeting, and then Putin had him in there for hours, and he didn't know much about politics, but he had this certain special something. So he's kind of the wrong guy to be doing this thing to begin with. But okay, so while we're doing that, we're sending in kind of the B team, Trump's running circles around us in the Putin is running circles around it in an information space, and he knows what he's doing, and he knows what he's trying to achieve, and he's sending guys like, well, Medvedev out to say all kinds of bombastic things. While he's not going to say anything, he's going to rise above it. He won't say anything directly himself for days. Peskov will say things, Medvedev will say things, Lavrov will say things, but he won't say things. And then the C team, that is the Russian propagandists, the Scott Ritters, the Spetsnaz 007, and the others will be saying things like, for example, this, most Ukrainians are ungrateful. They hate Russians who built everything that they have. Infrastructure development from 1991 to 2021, nothing built. They cry online about Russia stole our nukes, but forget to tell you Russia paid off all their USSR debt. Russia also enslaved them. Russia also gave them the Holodomor, killing millions of their people. So are they super entitled people? You might want to actually work out all the facts first. But these kinds of propagandists will only show one side of it. Or here, Che Bao's another propagandist who's replying to Marko Milkinson, he's an Estonian legislator who says, think about Mariupol before you think about Gaza. In just 3 months, Russians killed around 100,000 civilians there. Che Bao's reply is the Ukro scammers, that's Ukrainian scammers, lie like they breathe. In the UN, maximum estimate for civilian death in Ukraine hasn't exceeded 15,000 killed by all sides. Okay. First, I'm not sure that 15,000 number is right, but let's say it is. Let me see that point. What the UN has shown is what they have been able to document and prove, not what they can't get into Mariupol and see the mass graves that we see from space. They can't actually get into that and see what's there. Like, part of the reason that they can't give up Mariupol is because we're going to find atrocities that are going to curl our hair when they actually get in there. And so Marco says 100,000 civilians were killed in Mariupol alone, right? But you have these kind of people that have this loose affiliation with truth. Now, what does all that have to do with my main point? My main point is that there's a head fake. He doesn't mind being loose with the truth, and he's using Trump, and he's giving Trump just enough to say, yes, we want to do something. Yes, we're willing to give up something, when he knows full well that the Ukrainians can't actually give it up, or that he wouldn't do it even if even if Zelensky decided we're going to give up this area and we're going to have peace, there would be something in the way. There would be, conditions are not met. You have to do the actual Russian language or whatever it is. Something would get in the way. I can guarantee you something would get in the way. So that's not what it is. So when Trump is saying, hey, let's go back to the lines, everybody just give up, everybody go home, stop the fighting, stop the killing, it doesn't really work. Go home to your families in peace. But this is Konstantinivka. It used to be someone's home. This is Russia's kind of peace. And how do you go back to it? How do you go back to a place that Russia occupies and go home when they have taken your home? Okay, tell me what you thought about what I know. This was kind of wandering and meandering, but I think it's all a head fake. I can't prove it. I think it is. I think that Putin's going to play for an extra. So what will happen ultimately here is that Putin has just bought time. He's bought another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, until they can get the first meeting, and then they can get the Budapest meeting, however long that'll take, to just keep doing what he's doing because he thinks he can keep proceeding. Tell me, am I all wet? I don't mind being all wet. I'm not showing you documented things that are proving that this is a head fake. This is just how I'm processing it, and I'd like to know what you think. A shout out to Wendy Holmes, undergraduate YouTube member. And for the rest of you, thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for the likes and the shares and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.